Okay, today will be the last class for Vray. As such, for Vray, to on the next class onwards, we will be looking how to start doing the post production out in Photoshop of the image that to be done. Okay, the next class would be a little more Vray plus Photoshop together. Okay, so as such, only for Vray, this will be the final class. And today we will be discussing something called as mesh clipper. Then we will be looking out how to create a material from scratch. And as V-Ray and SketchUp does not have a mirror material, we will see how to create that. And then we will see how we could edit the V-Ray material, because V-Ray as such we are not able to edit the material what we edit the SketchUp material, we can't do that. So there is some specific tricks that should be used so as to edit like the color or texture or so in V-Ray materials. Okay, so we will look into that, and we will also look how we could do some editing about the SketchUp material that we use in V-Ray. Okay, we will look into that, and then I'll just tell you a site where you can get a lot of number of materials that other than the ones that is already there in the library of V-Ray. We could basically use that as well so as to create the V-Ray materials. Okay, okay, so I will go to the SketchUp screen now. Um, so the first one out here is known as the mesh clipper. So mesh clipper is used wherein which you want to render a perspective section. Okay, perspective section or the section you want to render. For example, I am having a box. Okay, I'm just offsetting it a little. Okay, I'll make it in a dimension so that it is possible. 5000 comma 5000. I'm entering it, and then I'm offsetting it like 230 mm and just push pulling it like around for 3000 mm. So you get a room space. Okay, I just made a room. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a section. Got it, with the help of the section tool out in SketchUp. I'm clicking on it. I got a section. I'm just giving okay the section 1 and then moving it so that I get a section like this. Cool. Now I'm just keeping it like this in a manner where in which I get a perspective view of it. Now I want to render this view. Okay, in normal case, the section of the SketchUp model is not understood by the V-Ray. For that, what it does is that it uses a thing known as clipper. Okay, now I'm going to the asset editor, doing some preliminary settings that we normally does, that is changing the to Cuba, changing it to the graphics card. I'm ticking both the graphics card, changing to interactive mode, turning on the safe frame and making sure the image width is basically less than 1000. Okay, and now if I am going to geometry out here in this asset editor, you will see that here there is something called section 1 being shown. Okay, this place you will basically see most of the materials such as the fur and the sections etc would come out here. The V-Ray objects would basically come out here. So now what I'm doing is I'm selecting this and going to the left side. Okay, sorry, the right side, and you will see that it comes into a position like this. Make sure this thing is on. Okay, then only clipper or the sectional render will work, or else it will not work. Make sure that, and then give a test render. So you can see that you get the sectional view of it. Okay, now whenever you are giving a sectional render, make sure that you do not have light getting passed to the sectional cut. Okay, for that, sectional cut means that now if I am opening this, okay, this area is basically got opened. Okay, so you have sunlight being falling from this section. Okay, that is what is known as a sectional, what the light being coming from the sectional cut, and we should not have that. Okay, because it will rather affect any sort of lighting that you are doing inside na, will get affected. So that not to get affected, you need to uncheck this affect light. and check on camera rays only, so that you don't get light coming from that area, but you will get from the top side only. You will not get the light coming from the sectional cut. Okay, so I tell everyone to basically check this and uncheck this. Okay, now the one more thing that you guys need to do is that if you need materials to be applied on the sectional cut, okay, the sectional fill that you need to be having like a brickwork, or you for ease of taking it to Photoshop and working, normally we put it entirely black. Okay, so for that to appear, what I suggest is you guys need to turn off this use object material. Okay, now you can see that this becomes hollow. Fine. And then here you can see that there is the option known as material. You can check this. You can see that whatever material you are having here would come here. Okay, so now if I want brick, you can go to the material option out here and select and drag and drop the material of brick. Okay, and then you can go to the section and then fill it with brick. Cool. Now you can see that there is a brick cut. Got it? So you can just change the, you can edit the size as well, so that it comes into the range. Okay, it is a little big, so if you want, you can basically make it like 500 or so, where in which you can get the brick image properly. Okay, make sure that you can make it into a range where in which the render shows only the brick. Okay, so it is basically becoming small or it is becoming bigger, that's why. Okay, you can align it accordingly so as to get the brick effect. You can change or you can make it into a, you can also change it and make it into a view of our black color, so as to work with the help of um, in Photoshop. Okay, for the ease in working with Photoshop, you can create it black entirely. Okay, so that you can understand that it is a sectional cut. Got it? Any doubts till now? This is what is about clippers. Okay, mesh clippers. Any doubts for the sections, sectional cuts and rendering?
No,
Okay,
sir.
okay, no doubts means I will go further towards something called as, I'll just delete everything which all are here presently, and then we will go on to something called how to create a material from scratch. Okay, for that I would tell you how to create a material that is a reflective material. If you know that you don't have a material called mirror in any place, let's in let it in Sketchup, yeah, in Vray you don't have a material called mirror. Okay, if you want to do mirror, there is a separate technique so as to be used. Okay, I will teach that first. Okay, so we will create a material known as mirror now. Okay, for that I am just making a box so that it gets up for the place so as to get applied. Okay, just creating a box like this. Cool. And then I am creating a circle. Okay, now you just think that this is a mirror and I want a mirror to be made out in this. For that to happen, what you need to do is, first thing, if you want to create a material, come to the material table out here, and you can see that there is an option in the down place out here. You can see there is an option known as create asset. Okay, so click on create asset. You can see there is an option called material. If you drop down, there is a option known as generic. Click on generic so that you see see something called as generic out here in the list. Just double click it and rename it to mirror. Okay, fine. And then you can see it coming out here. Now I am going to the left side of it. Okay, I am just taking the paint bucket and applying. When you click on mirror, you can basically apply it, as I have already taught you how to apply materials from this part. You just need to just apply it so that you get the material being applied out here. Now, in the left side, you can see there are lot of options. Fine. The first option is called diffuse. These are basically advanced material settings, wherein which the first option is called diffuse, which is either a color or a texture that is to be applied. Okay, the first out here, what is the thing is that this is a color palette, and out here it is called as a texture. Okay, if you click this, you can basically apply a texture. I will show you how to apply it as well in the next part, in the next thing that I'm going to explain. Okay, and then you have, now I just want a silver color because most of the mirrors are silver in color, so that's a silver color which is already in the default settings. Okay, then go to reflection, go down. So this reflection color means that I'll just on this and keep, so that you guys can understand what is happening in the side. Okay, reflection color means that if you need the reflection color to be white for as to reflect most of the rays that is coming onto it, black means it will absorb most of the rays that is coming onto it. Got it? That is what a reflective color does. So now I want a reflecting surface, so I just need to keep it on full, that is to the most thing. Okay, so you can see that slightly the shade of the mirror starts up coming up in your render as well. You need to keep the glossiness also full for as so as to create the render effect. Then there is an option known as a reflection IOR, which you need to check in. Okay, so that you get a mirror effect. Cool. Okay, so that is what how you create a mirror. Fine. Now you are basically getting a mirror, but the thing is that you don't have any surface so as to showcase this as a mirror. Okay, because if you have an image in front, you will basically see that getting reflected out here. If I'm moving this lady, sometimes it will be showing as well in the mirror. Oh, just you just need to keep this also full. Okay, the reflecting IOR, then only you will see it as a reflection. Okay, now it is coming up. Got it? Cool. So this is what how you basically make a mirror. Got it? Any doubts creating a mirror? Because you don't have a material mirror in Vray as well as in Sketchup to be applied. You need this technique so as to make it. Any doubts till this? Any doubts? No doubts? Okay, cool. Now we will see something called how we can edit a V-Ray material. Cool. For V-Ray materials to be edited, for example, I have a brick out here, brick material out here. I am taking it and applying it on the surface out here. Okay. Now, if I give the render, you can see that you have a brick material here. I'm just changing the size in the SketchUp. If you could go to the material edit, you can see there is an option out here where in which you can basically change the size of it. Okay, okay, you can change the size of it so that you get a proportionality one. Okay, so that is what this position does. Now one thing is that you want to change the color of this render. Okay, most of the time what you will do is you will try changing it from here. Okay, this will cause, the thing is that it will change in the SketchUp model. The color from here, it will change in the SketchUp model, but it will not come in the V-Ray render. Okay, the reason is that here, the thing, if you could go to the materials, you go to break, you just go to the advanced material setup, you see that here the texture slot is ticked, which means that it will show the texture instead of the color out here. Okay, if you uncheck it, you can see that the black color out here, it gets reflected. So whichever color out here is going to be getting reflected out here. So if you want, so there is a color option, either one of the two will only be shown at a time by Vray. So if you want to change the color of the texture, what you need to do is go, there is a small box with two black squares coming up. Go right click it, go to wrap pen, then come to color correction. Okay, from here you need to change the hue and saturation so as to get the desired color of your choice. Got it? You need to change this so as to get the color that you require. Okay, if you change it a little, you can see that the color changes according to your wish. And you can also change the hue tint. You can change the tint strength or so as well. And also you can change the brightness level up and down so as to create the required effect that you want. Okay, this is how you change a V-Ray materials uh, texture. Okay, V-Ray materials color. You can't do it directly from the SketchUp thing. It will not come. That is what I'm telling. Okay, you can go back by clicking the select preview asset. You can previous asset, you will come back to the thing. Okay, then you can basically change the reflection as I've told. If you want it to be a surface that is highly reflecting, you can basically change this to full. And you can also change something like the refraction, that is the light bending option is also could be changed from here. Okay, so I don't want a brick wall to be reflecting, so I'm not changing anything out here. Then there is a option called as bump out here. So I need to tell something about bump. Okay, bump is nothing but it is the texture. Okay, if okay, I'll just show you one thing, then you will understand it. I am just doing a sectional render out here. I am turning off this bump. You can see this. What is the difference between these two? Okay, the meaning of this bump is that if you are owning it, it will showcase the realistic texture onto it. Okay, and if you are keeping it off means that it will not have any texture or it will not have any unevenness. It will be a plain flat surface. Okay, with no finishes, no texture. So you can see that this helps in the more realism in your textures, in your renders. Okay, so that is what this basically helps you to do. Fine. So always keep this bump on. Sometimes if you are creating your own material, I'll show you how. If you are trying to create your own material, you will not have a bump map so as to create it. Okay, so you can do a technique that I will tell you soon in the next next material that I'm going to apply. I will tell you how you can do that. Okay, then there are options called bind, where in which you can keep everything on and basically keep different type of textures and so on things, just the colors and stuff. If you on that, you will have the colorization. If you not, it will not be having. Got it? So this is about how you need to apply materials from the text, from the V-Ray materials, how to edit and how to use it. Cool. This much, any doubts?
Nice, sir.
Okay, cool. So then we will come into something called as uh, SketchUp materials. Okay, so if you are applying a SketchUp material, okay, I'll apply it here itself. Okay, in this ground surface, I'll apply it and show you. I am applying a material from here, that is, let it be a pebble, ground river. This thing I'm just applying it. Okay, so I am just going to the asset editor, just giving a render and checking. Okay, I'm just turning this off. Okay, now you can see that anything that is from the SketchUp file will be looking like any material that is applied from the SketchUp library. Okay, will be not having the bump map. Okay, and it will be looking always like a plain surface. So I will tell you a methodology that is used so that you guys can create something that is really interesting. Okay, so if you guys from here, if you guys can see that the bump map out here, this is not activated. In the other case, in the brick case, if you could see that here it is on. Okay, here there's something, and here if you could see that it is off. So what you guys need to do is, there are two methods. Okay, I'll show you one method, that is the original method that will take a little time. That is, go to edit out here, go to a option out in this material option. There is an option known as edit texture image in external editor. You click it, you will get an image like this. Go to crop and save this image to the desktop. I'm just saving it to the desktop right now. I'm just saving it, and I'll come back, and then I will click on it, add bitmap, and then I will just apply this, open the material that I have applied here and just open it. Okay, and then I'll just go back. So now if I render, you can see that the texture starts coming. Okay, this is one method. Okay, there is one more method to do this. That is, you can I will apply it in a second. I'll just apply it in one more thing, and then I'll just show you what could be done. I'm just copying this. Okay, I'm just trying to, I'll apply some other material. Okay, up now, so that I'll apply this material out here. Okay, and then I'll go to Vray asset editor, and from there is a gravel 1 inch. Okay, here what there is, if I go and do the render right now, you can see that this also does not have any texture. Similar, I'll just increase the scale to 1000. 1000. Okay, it looks similar now. Cool. Now if you zoom in, you can see that there is no, basically the textures are not there. So there is one more jugaad, that is, you can basically left click this, the diffuse option may, if you have in the texture slot, you can left click it, copy this, and you can simply play, left click out here and paste as a copy. Okay, the same effect will come. You don't need to do a lot of stuff so as to create the textures onto the material. Okay, this is one method that could be done so as to create faster way of creating this render. Okay, the bump map out in the Vray. Got it? Any doubts till now? Because this is a really good technique so as to create it. Okay, and the one more option that I wanted to tell is that you can create your own bump map with the help of going to taking the same image, going to Photoshop. You can basically reduce the saturation and basically make it an image, and then you can apply it. Okay, this is the methodology so as to adopt it, so as to create a material of your own. Okay, if you want to create a material of your own, you are having an image, okay, with you right now. So you can basically put this, you can change this texture slot, you can click on it, change the file. Okay, you can change this file, and you can basically place the ones that you have basically applied. Okay, you are basically, the image could be yours, your image could be basically put here. Okay, and you can basically change this bitmap with the help of Photoshop. You can basically create the saturation level, just change it, and then basically place it here. You will get the material done. Got it? This is one technique so as to create your own self materials. Okay, so your own materials could be also done. You can change the reflection of it, refraction out of it. You want a material that is slightly glowing, or your own the your own what custom materials could be added. Okay, this is one technique that could be done. And once you have finished such, if you are started making some sort of customized material, and so Vray provides you a specific option, that is, you could save the asset, that is the type of materials that you are using, the type of lighting that you are using, everything could be saved here. Okay, you can save the asset file onto your folder as well, so that later you can import them. Okay, import the asset. So you are given the option of having customized material. You can have the customized lighting in V-Ray so as to create a self customized or your personalized settings for rendering, so that whenever you render, people start understanding that it is your own render. That effect could be brought about by the typology, by this technique of saving your asset or creating your own materials by applying of the bitmap and the bum map. Okay, so this is one way. And I'll just tell you one more thing. Out in this one, if you go to the three dots out here, you can basically change the look of this. Okay, now it is in a generic manner, that is a ball with a fang. If you want a fabric, you can see how it is going to be applied as a fabric, or how it is going to look in a floor plane, or how it is going to look in a ground, how you can look it in a wall, how it is going to look. So you can basically change and look how it is going to look. The preview could be seen out here. Okay, normally it is seen as generic. In some places you can basically change according to your wish and the material that you are making. Okay, so to create any material, just create as go to asset material generic. You can create a material, and then I'll just tell you one more thing, that is I'm just making one more material out here. And then here na, in this texture you just need to select it, click bitmap, and you can select a image. Now I am just making a material of a image itself. Okay, I'm making a render that last time what we rendered. I'm just opening it, going back. Okay, it will become a material now. Okay, going to the bum map, selecting this. Again, what I'm doing is I'm just copy pasting this one, the diffusion what is there. I'm just copying this, and I am pasting the material out here. Okay, okay, sorry. One copy. Okay, so it is changing according. Fine. So if I'm going and applying it on this thing, you can see that the material is being formed. Okay, you get the material within no time. So that is one technique so as to be applied, so that you can make your own materials as and when how you like, and you can basically edit the scale from here. Okay, that is the technique so as used. And I'll tell you one more site where in which you can get infinite number of materials. That is, you can go to Google. Okay, you can go to Google. There is a site known as Polygon. Okay, go here. You can get textures. Okay, and you can see that these are basically V-Ray textures. You can get forms, you can get leaves, you can get basically rocks. The textures, na, you can basically get it from here. You can download it and you can just place it out in the V-Ray out here. Okay, you can just change this as well as the bitmap so as to create the material as of your choice. Fine. So this is a really good site that I normally use. If you guys want, you guys can look into it. You are having a lot of many options like stones. You are having like walls. You have lot many options that are there which could be basically used. So you can basically expand your the material library that you have in V-Ray, and so as to create your renders. Any doubts till now? So that would be the end for today's class.